Welcome to Mountain Cooking with Missy. Today I'm going to show you how to make this delicious pot pie. It's so good. Alrighty, so we're going to get started on our filling for our pot pie. So I have melted a half a stick of unsalted butter and it's already ready to go. And I've got my heat on probably about a 5 or 6 until I get my vegetables in here. So what I'm going to start out is you want to start out with about 4 stalks of celery, and this is about a medium red onion. You can use any kind of onion you want. I'm using red. So you want to saute your vegetables in this butter, and you want to put, this is where I'm going to put my seasonings in. Now you want to adjust your seasonings to taste as you go, because it's just like anything, you got to adjust your seasonings. So this is a little bit of sage to start out, and this is ground sage. Let me get it to where I can put it out. Yeah, a little bit of sage, probably about 1/4 teaspoon, not a lot. A little bit of thyme, about the same amount, about 1/4 teaspoon. I'm going to do about the same amount of onion powder and 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder. And I'm going to do some black pepper, and I'm doing a little bit of ground black pepper that I already ground up. That was probably about 1/4 teaspoon. I'm not going to add any salt to this because I want to add chicken stock, which has got some salt in it. You can add salt if you want, but I'm personally not going to add any extra salt. So what you're going to do, you're just going to make these, saute it till it's tender, and they're already starting to because the butter was hot. It smells so good. It's already smelling like Thanksgiving, really. So now we're going to put our potatoes and our carrots. So what I did, I made this a little easier. I did a can of carrots. This is a can of sliced carrots. And I did a can of cooked potatoes because I get taters on sale a lot, like at Aldi and stuff. This is cooked. These are already cooked little taters that I just diced up to make this go easier and faster. These are already just canned. And if you want to do fresh, you can. You just got to cook them a little longer so they get tender. This is going to come together quick because you're already using these pre-cooked vegetables for your pot pie. So I'm just going to toss this together the same way. It smells so good, y'all. Now I love pot pie, but I don't like the pot pies that you buy in the store. A lot of times they don't even have a bottom crust, and I don't like pot pie recipes where you have to use condensed soup. I don't like those kind of recipes. I'd rather make it myself. So this looks really good, nice and chunky. Smells so good. So I'm just going to let this do this a couple more minutes, and then we're going to add the rest of our stuff. Y'all, this smells so good. Now I'm going to add the rest of our ingredients. I'm doing a 1/3 cup of all-purpose flour. You can use self-rising too, it doesn't matter. And I'm going to do 2½ cups of chicken stock. So I'm just going to stir this together until it starts to thicken. I'm adding about 1 cup of heavy cream. It's going to start to come together. Starting to bubble up. I'm going to add 1 cup of peas. Now I'm going to taste it. So, and I want to give it probably another round of seasoning. Again, this is just all seasoned to taste, but I'm going to taste it and see what it needs. So now I'm just going to turn the heat off, and I'm going to add about a tablespoon of lemon juice. And I'm going to add about a pound of cooked chicken. You can use rotisserie if it's easier, whatever you want. Dark or white meat, whatever you want, but about a pound of that. I'm going to stir that up. All right, now we're ready for the good part, is the dough. But y'all, don't that filling look so good? Y'all, and it smells good. This is going to feed a lot of people, going to make a lot of people happy, y'all. So let's get started on the good part, the crust. All right, now it's time to put the crust in our skillet. Now I got about, this is about a 12-inch cast iron skillet that I'm using. You can use a baking dish. I think this should go in about a 9x13 baking dish. If you want to use that instead, I'm using my big 12-inch skillet. You're going to need 2 boxes of Puff Pastry. This is called Puff Pastry sheets, and this is about 1 pound each box. So you can get these at the grocery store. This is what I'm using, Puff Pastry, and you're only going to need 2 boxes. So you're just going to take them out of the box, and what you're going to do is I'm going to lay one box is going to lay in the bottom of my skillet for the bottom crust. And I love Puff Pastry. It is so good, y'all. It is like the best thing ever. And I'd rather have a Puff Pastry crust actually for this pie than a regular traditional crust. So it comes in sheets, and you're just going to carefully pull them apart, and there's little pieces of like paper between them, and peel that off. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to take each sheet and cut it with a sharp knife. Just cut it with a sharp knife right across. For the bottom of this crust, I'm going to lay these sheets just right on the bottom. And I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to put like 2 more on the bottom. Then I'm going to take the other sheets that I cut, and I'm going to lay up the sides, and I'll show you that. So it took about 3 of the sheets to lay on the bottom, and you can spread that out with your fingers, and if you get holes, just pinch it together. And I think I may have said it, make sure these are thawed. They're frozen. You can thaw them out. You need to thaw them out in the refrigerator a couple days before you're ready to use them. So then you're just going to take the other sheets and stretch around to go up your sides of your skillet. That's that easy. Now see, that's all around. It doesn't matter if there's some holes. It don't matter. It don't matter if it don't come all the way up. And if it's thawed, it's really easy to work with. You can pretty much stretch it if you need to. You'll have plenty to go around the bottom of, if you use a 12-inch skillet like I'm doing. You can, like I said, you can do a 9x13. It should cover a 9x13. So now I'm going to put the filling in, and then we'll top it. Now when I top it, I'm going to cut these out in squares. So I'm going to take all these sheets for the topping and cut them out in squares, and you'll see that too. So pour your filling in. Y'all, this is a meal in itself. I personally wouldn't have to have anything else to eat with this. To me, you give me this and I'll be good. I'll be good. Y'all, this smells divine. Now, if you want to put any more seasoning on at this time, you could. Like I said, all this is pretty much you taste. Everything is to taste. You season it to your liking. And let me say, if you don't have thyme and sage, you can use just poultry seasoning will work on this too. It'll still be good. So now I'm gonna cut the sheets into squares to put on the top. So I took each sheet and cut into 3 squares, which is really easy. And I'm just going to lay the squares right on top. You can overlap. And I'm gonna keep doing that all around the top. Now, it's all done. I put the squares right on top. Some of them aren't too pretty looking, but that's all right. This is gonna be good. This is all gonna puff up, and that's the beauty of this pie. It don't have to be perfect, but it's gonna be good. And the puff pastry is delicious. So now this is the final touch. 1 egg yolk and about a teaspoon of water. And you just wanna brush that right on top. Try to brush all of it that you can. This is going to go in the oven I got an oven preheated at 375. You want to bake this for about 45 minutes to an hour. It'll start to get brown. When it starts bubbling up around the edges and it's already brown, it's pretty much done. Because your filling's already hot and cooked. Basically, all you're waiting on is this beautiful crust to get done. And y'all, to me, I don't think you'll make pot pie any other way but this from now on. So, all right, I got that all brushed on. Try to get it all the way to the edges. It's gonna make it shiny too. It's gonna look so pretty. All right, it's gonna bake for about 45 minutes to an hour in an oven that's preheated to 375. Keep an eye on it. After about 40 minutes, your oven's time will vary according to how your oven is. After about 40 minutes, I want to check on it. If it looks brown enough and it's bubbly, I may bring it out then. So just keep a check on it after about 40 minutes. And when it comes out, you're gonna see how pretty it looks. Let me add also, you might want to bake this, especially if you're doing it in a skillet, this kind of skillet. You might want to put your skillet on a baking sheet or something, or a cookie sheet, in case when it does bubble, it won't make a mess in your oven. So please just make sure that you do that. That's what I'm going to do because I don't want to mess in my oven, y'all.
Not bad.
All right, y'all, look at that. Look how flaky the crust is. And it is, like, my favorite part really is the crust. It's good. I'm gonna take a bite. It's good. Good old bite of chicken pot pie, y'all. It's delicious. So good, y'all. Look at that. I hope you try this. Like I said, this will feed an army. It's a big recipe. If you wanted to cut it in half, you most certainly could. But I'm telling you, this is a great, like, one meal dish. I eat that, I wouldn't eat anything else really. Good piece of chicken. I'll wash it down with my good all sweet tea. Y'all, this is a hit. It's good. If you love chicken pot pie, you want a good way to make chicken besides the same old, right here is a great recipe and I recommend it. And it's very good. Like I said, feed the whole family, y'all, and then some, and have a lot left over. And this, you can freeze it too. This would freeze well, and you could warm it up, but it's so good. With the puff pastry, I highly recommend it. I love the puff pastry, so it's so good. It's like one of my favorite ways to make chicken pot pies with puff pastry, and that's good. I hope you make it, y'all. If you do, you let me know. Tag me the @ Mountain Cooking with Missy. I really appreciate it. And let me know. Let me know if you make it. Let me know how you like it. Love all you guys. Thank you for watching Mountain Cooking with Missy, where it's nothing fancy, just good eating.